Hi, today we will be doing some math and chemistry questions. So let's get started. And let's start with the first question. A pediatric doctor gives the 6-year-old child 1,250 microliters of 1% lidocaine for a small surgical procedure. How many moles did the doctor give and how many lidocaine molecules are given to the child? Okay, to solve this question, we need to know that 1,250 microliters is the same as 1.25 milliliters. So, and 1% just means 10 milligrams per milliliters. So we do first things first. Since it's 1%, we do 1.25 divided by 100, and that will be 1/80. And the molar mass of lidocaine HCl is 1. And this is the same fraction as So we do 1/80 divided by And does anyone know how to do this? Because anyone should be able to know how to do this. This is actually very easy, and this is very easy because
dividing by a number is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal.
You heard that dividing by a number is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. So this is 1/80 times the reciprocal is 5, and 80 times 108,320. And this is equal to 4.62 times 10 to the negative fifths, and I'm fixing the parentheses here, times 10 to the negative fifths moles. This is how much moles are given to that 6-year-old child in the question, and how many molecules multiply this by the Avogadro's number. .62 times 6.022 is equal to 27.8. And as you all know, 10 to the negative fifths times 10 to the 23rd. When you multiply two numbers with the same base but different exponents, you add the exponents. 23 minus 5 is obviously just 18. So this is equal to 10 to the 18. So this equation here is equal to 27.8 times 10 to the 18 here, which is the same as 2.78 times 10 to the 19 molecules, MOLEC. So they're giving this much molecules to that 6-year-old child in the question. Our next question is going to be, the pediatric dose for IV ketamine is 1 milligram per kilogram. If a doctor gives ketamine HCl via the IV to a 6-year-old child weighing 20 kilograms, how many moles should the doctor give? How many milligrams should the doctor give? And how many molecules should the doctor give? Okay. So to solve this question, we first need to know that multiplying by 1 will never do anything. 1 milligrams per kilograms times 20 will equal to 20. Milligrams, which is the same as 0.02 grams, which is also the same as 1/50 grams. And the molar mass for ketamine is this fraction here. So to calculate how many moles are given to this child, we are going to do a simple division. Divided 1/50 divided by, this is a 5 here. And hopefully you all know how to do this, because
Dividing by a number is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal.
So this is 1/50 times, this is 1/50 times the reciprocal. Equals to 5, and the denominator is 68550. And this is equivalent to 7.29 times 10 to the -5th mole. So they are giving this much moles of ketamine to the child in the question. And if you want to multiply, you want to find the molecules, you multiply that by the Avogadro's number. Let me just erase this quickly so we have more room. Okay. (7.29 times 6.022 is equal to 43.9, and 10 to the -5th times 10 to the 23rd, that will be 10 to the 18th, because 23 minus 5 is 18. So this is equal to move the decimal place across. (18 plus 1 is 19. So this is how much molecules they're giving to the child. Ketamine molecules. Let's move to our third question. The pediatric dose for IV midazolam is 100 microliters, which is 0.1 milliliters. per kilograms. If a 6-year-old child weighs 20 kilograms and the doctor wants to give the child midazolam HCl through the IV, how many moles should the doctor give? How many milligrams? And how many molecules? Okay. First of all, the molar mass for midazolam is molar mass, AR. Is this, which is the same as the fraction. This fraction here. And 20 times 1/10, which is 0.1, is equal to 2 milligrams, which is the same as this many grams, 1/500 grams. And to calculate the moles they're giving to the child, you know the drill by now. We do divided by the molar mass. And this should be very easy here for you because
Dividing by a number is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal.
so this is times the reciprocal. $50 and 1. Okay, and we just need to use a calculator. 1 times 1 is 1. 50 times So this is about this is about 5.52 times 10 to the negative 6 moles. So this is the moles they're giving to the child in the question, and multiply that by the Avogadro's number will give the molecules. This is a 10, not a 6. This is a 6. So this is the Avogadro's number. Equals 3.32 times 10 to the power of 18 molecules. So this is how much molecules are given to the child in the question. Here. Let's move on to the fourth question. First question, a pediatric doctor gave an 8-year-old child 2 milliliters of 1% lidocaine HCl for a suture procedure. How many moles did the doctor give and how many lidocaine molecules are given. So we do, since this is 1%, we do 2 divided by 100. This is equal to 1/50. And remember the molar mass for lidocaine. So we do 1/50 divided by and this should be very easy here because
Dividing by a number is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal.
so this is and to find that I might need to use a calculator. Which is equal to about 7.39 times 10 to the negative fifth. Here, this is how many moles they're given to the child in question, and multiply that by the Avogadro's number. We get this. And I'm just gonna use a calculator for this. Even though I'm Asian, I'm still gonna use a calculator anyway. Which is equal to 4.45 times 10 to the 19 molecules. So they're giving this much molecules to the child in the question. Let's move on to question 5. A pediatric doctor gave an 8-year-old child 1 milliliter of 1% lidocaine HCl for a dental procedure. How many moles did the doctor give? And how many lidocaine molecules are given to the child? The question should use the word dentist instead, but this is not a grammar video. This is a chemistry video. Equals 1/100. We all know that. And the molar mass of lidocaine is which is the same as so we do 1/100 divided by this is the same as this should be very easy here because
Dividing by a number is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal.
so this is equal to times multiplication. Which is the same as now this is equal to I put the decimal place too close. This much moles are given to the child in the question, and 3.3 69 times 6.022. This is equal to 22.2. And 23 minus 5 equals to 18. So the Avogadro's number, the molecules, will be times 10 to the power of 18 plus 1, 19 molecules. So let's move on to question 6. A pediatric doctor gave a 7-year-old child 900 microliters, which is 0.9 milliliters, lidocaine HCl for a suture procedure. How many moles did the doctor give, and how many lidocaine molecules are given to the child? Okay, first 0.9 divided by 100. This is equal to 9 over 1,000. So 9 over 1,000. And hopefully you can remember the so 9 over 1,000. Divided by this is equal to, should be very easy here because
Dividing by a number is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal.
so this is times which is equal to this number here. Let me grab my calculator. 45 divided by this is equal to 3.32. Times 10 to the -5 moles. And to calculate how many molecules, multiply the Avogadro's number. This is equal to 2 times 10 to the power of 19 molecules. So they're giving this much molecules to the child in the question. A pediatric doctor gave a 7-year-old child 500 microliters, which is 0.5 milliliters, of 1% lidocaine HCl for a small surgical procedure. How many moles did the doctor give, and how many lidocaine molecules are given to the child? Okay, so 0.5 times 1% or divided by 100 is equal to 1 over 200. Hopefully you can all agree on the math. And you know the drill by now. Remember how to divide fractions? Remember how to divide?
Dividing by a number is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal.
So this will be 1 over 200 times the reciprocal. Which is about 1 times 5 is 5. And 1354 times 200, this is equal to this number here. Which is equal to 1.85 times 10 to the negative fifth moles they're giving to the child in the question here. And we now multiply that by the Avogadro's number to find the molecules. (1.85) times 6.022, that will be equal to 11.1. That will be equal to 11.1. And 10 to the negative 5 times 10 to the 23rd. 23 minus 5 equals to 18, obviously. 23 minus 5 equals 18. So this is 1.11 times 10 to the 18 power, or 1.11. This is 11.1 times 10 to the 18 power, or 1.11 times 10 to the 19 power in scientific notation. Molecules. So they're giving this much molecules to the child in the question. Okay, and we have 3 more math questions to do. And I don't need this paper anymore. I need to grab my calculator. Oh, I finally found my eraser. Here it is. So, first math question. Why can't we divide by 0? Why can't we say n divided by 0 equal to infinity? Well, here's why you can't. Let's take 1 over 0.1. This is equal to 10. 1 over 0.01 equals to 100. So it seems like 1 over 0.0 should equal to infinity. But let's look from another angle. 1 over negative 0.1 equals negative 10. 1 over negative 0.01 equals negative 100. So by this logic, 1 divided by 0 should equal to negative infinity. So if we say 1 divided by 0 equals infinity and 1 divided by 0, I forgot to put the 0 here, equals to negative infinity, positive and negative infinity should be equal. But they are obviously not equal. I'm going to tell you why. And this is why you cannot divide by 0. Let's take an equation, 2 to the power of infinity. This is equals 2 times 2 times 2, infinity times, which should be equal to infinity. Multiplying infinity copies of 2 together should give you infinity. But if we just said infinity is equal to minus infinity, so this is also 2 to the power of minus infinity. And a negative sign in the exponents means reciprocal. So this should be 1 over 2 times 2 times 2, which should be equal to 1 over infinity. 1 divided by a really big number and infinitely big number will be 0. So if we say infinity equals to minus infinity, 2 to the power of infinity is infinity, 2 to the power of minus infinity is 0. So that will also say 0 equals infinity. This is absurd. We cannot say 0. 0 is obviously not infinity, okay? So this is why we cannot divide by 0. Okay, let's move on to our next math question. And that math question is, what is 0 to the power of 0? Is it equal to 1 or undefined? 0 to the power of 0 has no agreement in math. It can be undefined, it can be 1, or it can be 0. Because the reason is actually pretty simple. The limit of 0 to the power of x as x approaches 0 from the positive side, this is equal to 0, because 0 to the nth power of any positive number is 0. But the limit of x to the power of x as x approaches 0, this is equal to 1. If you don't believe me, you can type in a calculator. We can do 0.001 to the power of 0.001. It's pretty darn close to 1. It's 0.99. So the limit is 1. But the limit of 0 to the power of x as x approaches the 0 from the negative side equals undefined. Because we cannot divide by 0. 0 don't have a reciprocal. So 0 to the power of 0 has no agreement in math. We usually just call it as 1 because it's convenient. Okay, our final math question is the square root of 25 equals to positive 5 or... Let me write the 2 better. 25 equals to negative 5 or both. If you pick the third option, let me ask you a question. Then we can say So this must be true. But in math, if x equals y and x equals z, that means y equals z. Not 7, z. That means y equals z. So, don't this mean 5 equals negative 5? How is this possible? I want you to explain this in the comment section below. How is this possible? What did we do wrong here? I want you to explain this in the comment section below. As always, thank you for watching. Bye-bye. And explain that in the comments. Okay, before I go, I want to explain very clearly why dividing by a number is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. So let's just do our first question, 1 over 80 divided by. We can write this as a large fraction. See, we can write this as a large fraction. And how do I make the denominator equal to 1? You multiply this by the number's reciprocal. Whatever you do on the bottom, you do on the top. This will cancel out to give 1 times 1 divided by 1 divided by 1, which just equals to 1. 1. And dividing by a number is indeed multiplying by its reciprocal. To solve this, we just multiply across. First, the numerator is obvious. The denominator, I recommend using a calculator. I don't think you can see it. Okay, now it's better. You saw it. So yeah. Dividing by a number is indeed the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. Remember, dividing by a number is indeed the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. One more question before I go. If 1 over what if x equals to 0? In other words, what is 1 over 1 divided by 0? Is it equal to 0 or is it undefined? I want you to answer this in the comments. Is this equal to 0 or is it undefined? Is this equal to 0 or undefined? Thank you for watching.